I'm Jeff. This is my Potter's Journal for August and September 2023. 3 parts. I want to share with you kiln opening stuff and my fair plate. I'm going to hold you in suspense on that, take you to the fair, and get you final results. Let's see what happened in the studio. Okay, this week. And maybe I should say the past few weeks, I've been building up inventory on pie plates and everything again. Little stuff that fits in between. That's always a big story for me, as was this past spring, the bird bath. Somebody waited patiently for me to make another series of the basins on this. I couldn't believe that it was almost 3 months in the waiting for a special order. And I've done a number of firings. Here's an orchid pot. Usually I would do planters in the spring, but I guess this is the time you divide and pot up your orchids. My experience with them isn't vastly extensive, but you know, here's a standard. I was happy with the color on the terracotta. And if you're firing to cone 6 stoneware and electric kiln, you want to do some terracotta. It's the same temperature as the bisque, so it doesn't disrupt a production schedule. You can put some terracotta in your bisque for the stoneware. And I've been rebuilding another big story for me this year, the bunts, or if you're Slovenian, the pottery potičnica, the traditional pan for making the potica. I was so happy that they sold out for me at a show, and even with quite a nice, standard kind of price. And it was really magic doing them for the first time. I didn't have such an easy time the second time. A little trouble with the slip work. But okay, here's a little baby one. Little baby. So it's really the altering of these things that is so much great fun. And here it is in a little bowl. Okay, suspense no more. 6 years in the making, my 2023 Hookstown fair plate. So it first appeared in my sketchbook about 6 years ago. It was about then that I came up with this green glaze that I'm using now. And maybe it was a year or two later that I started doing the sgraffito. Okay, the making of this plate was mostly in the last video, but I wanted all the elements of the fair. We've got the Ferris wheel, tractors, corn, produce, floral stuff, grain, and then why would such a serious artist be entering a small town, but what's really very large on the sense like an old county fair? Well, it's all about community spirit. This was to engage. I volunteer down there, so this was something to talk to and say, you know, when I'm working, did you see my plate up in the fair? And for people who love the fair. Okay, to see all the elements. I did apologize to my the cattle friends that there's no livestock in here, so maybe next year we'll put 3 goats' heads across there. But yeah, no, this is something too that anybody can do, that anybody can enter the fair. Most people watching my videos maybe are not as skilled, I would think. I can't imagine anybody way up the ladder from me watching my videos, but this is something anybody could do. The things that really entered my technique this past year was the slip trailing with a little trailer. And we've got it the wavy line going round. And this was the question. The jeweling is what it's called, where you do a dot in a dot. That caught a lot of people's attention. I even did some sponge wear underneath here, and it's barely visible in the transition, but the idea there was that I wanted that part of the plate to kind of fade back into the distance and not overshadow. However, some things are echoed too. The fun and excitement of the Ferris wheel echoed in the trailing and the jeweling, the flashing and the bright lights. So this will be fun to see and talk about. Okay, as we have a week of working at the fair.
Color. Just all one color. That seemed like a basket up there. I don't know what she called it. No, her sister on the other side.
Oh yeah, that one place. This place was nice.
Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I this turned out because of that.
This is if you're adding them from your whatever. Are we going to
She cut up a lot of blankets. Still.
I would hope it's still around. So did you see my plate in the fair? Did you see my plate in the fair? It was there. Where do you think they put it? No, not down there. Way up here. Way up here on the top shelf. Way up here on the top shelf. It was the stuff that looks best in profile that they put down there. And why did I say I entered this? Okay, serious artist, local community fair. Why did I say I entered this? Okay, community spirit, to engage with the public, to friends and neighbors, to show off pride in a community event. Nobody saw it. Okay, wait a minute. Another volunteer I work with saw it. He's very tall. I told him to, okay, I'm going to have to step out of the picture. I told him, Jimmy, get up on your toes. Get up on your toes and look down. You might be able to just see over the edge. $150 plate. Oh, okay, if I was a real pro. $300 plate. I'll have to, what will I do with it? I don't have a market like that. I'll end up donating it to them. Okay, so it's volunteers who put this together. Maybe, no knowledge of art and crafts. They don't know. So what can you do? Volunteers, thank you. Thank you for working with the show. I also did this in video to encourage you, okay, to encourage everybody to enter a local fair that, I go to see. We have a lot of great artists in our community, and I go to see what they do. And since we draw from a large area, this fair, from, Pittsburgh and a huge area, to show that, yes, we can do stuff here. There's separate categories for youth. There's separate categories for handicapped. Yeah, there's a place for everybody. And if you're a beginning potter, intermediate, just getting started, or any craft, this is a great place to show your work before stepping into galleries or juried shows. So, what can you say? But, oh no, this plate was 6 years in the making, developing, all the different techniques and the glazes. Oh, in general, no. I do want to encourage people to do this because, in general, fairs are very welcoming, very open arms. But might be another story about my mother. Okay, the sweets. Okay, you've said 80-year-old something Weaver. We'll tell her. She'll tell her story in another video. And I will close you out with one more shot from the fair when I held the camera way up over my head. I got a blue ribbon on my onions again. I've been doing that since the 70s. They were there for my friends and neighbors to see in clear view, and even mentioned to me by the other volunteers I worked with. Okay, so stop back next week for another video, and stop back next week and meet me at the fair where we'll do another place.